What's up, everybody? My name's Chad, and today I'm going to give you some tips on buying a car or truck at the dealership. And these are things you need to pay attention to before you walk or step foot in that dealership today. Alright everybody, so here's tip number one. Do your research, okay? Do your research on whatever vehicle it is you're going to buy, even a motorcycle or an RV or whatever it is. Do your research on that vehicle and make sure you go online and look at different websites like Kelley Blue Book, NADA, Addons, stuff like that. You know, it's important for you to know what the invoice is on that vehicle, okay? You know, a lot of dealerships, they're going to have just the MSRP price on there, and that's what they're going to have on there, and then you're going to have to go inside and negotiate and all that to get the price you're going to need to get. And let me tell you, don't be afraid. You're going to have to negotiate. If you want to get a phenomenal deal on your vehicle, that's just something you're going to have to do. If you are not a good negotiator, and you know what, I'm one of those type of people where I don't like having to haggle with the sales guys and all that, then hey, call a friend, call your dad, call your mom, call whoever and get them to come in there with you. In the car business, we call that a car attorney, okay? But let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, it's all about you getting a good deal. So do your research and find out what the invoice pricing is on that vehicle. Step number two, financing. Make sure you get pre-approved with your bank before you go to the dealership. Okay, you're gonna want to go to your bank, whoever you bank with, and go in there and say, you know, I'm looking to buy a new vehicle. I'd like to get pre-approved with you and see what kind of interest rate I'll get. Now, let's say the bank gives you a 2.9 or a 3.9% interest rate, right? Then they'll give you that pre-approval on that vehicle you're looking at. You know, you can go online, print up the car that you want to buy that you saw at the dealership, and they will go ahead and base everything right there off of that vehicle, and they'll give you your interest rate. And then when you go into the dealership, say, look, I'm already pre-approved with, you know, whatever bank it is. This is the interest rate they're giving me, right? The dealerships, in a lot of times, will hold points on you when they're financing, okay? So if you go in first to the car dealership to get your approval and, you know, get financing with the car dealership, let's just say the bank hits them back on an email and says, okay, Mr. Chad is approved at a 2.9 interest rate, right? Well, when you sit down with the finance manager or the car salesman, he may say you're approved for a 5.9 interest rate. They're going to hold a few extra points. Why do they do that? Because the dealership's going to be able to make some extra money off that interest rate. So always get your pre-approval. And also at the same time, it's good to do that because maybe the dealership can beat the pre-approval that the bank gave you. Let's say your bank gave you a 5.9% rate. You know, then the dealership shops your car loan with other banks, and they'll say, okay, we got you approved at 3.9. So always pick the best rate out there. That's going to make your payments a lot better in the long run. Alright everybody, step number 3 today. Pay attention to the advertising you see in your local city. Now what do I mean by pay attention? Well, the beauty of our televisions at our houses now is that you can pause a commercial. That's right. You can pause a commercial. You know, a lot of times you're going to see the Toyota commercials on television or whoever, right? And they're moving so fast on those commercials. They're telling you what this is and this deal and these payments and this price and all this money off on the card, right? Well, what you're going to want to do at the end of that commercial there, pause it. Because there's going to be all that fine print at the bottom there in that commercial, and that's going to really state the meat and potatoes of this deal, okay? If that makes any sense. You know, I've been an advertising guy with car dealerships now for 5, 6, 7 years making TV commercials, and we always have to put all that stuff in the bottom right there. It's like a disclaimer, you know. So you got the beauty of being able to pause it. If you're on YouTube or Facebook and you see a commercial, just pause it, put it in full screen, and take the time to read that big paragraph down there so you can see what is exactly going on. Step number 4 today, work the price, not the payment. You know, you're going to walk into a car store, and when you go to finance a vehicle, they're going to say, you know, what payment range were you thinking, sir? I was thinking $350 to $400 a month. Well, you know, in most cases, the car dealerships, if you're not on a vehicle that's way over, you know, over your price budget or whatnot, they can get that payment where you want it to be at. But you really want to make sure that the price of the vehicle is what counts. It really does, okay? Because in most cases, the car dealership with financing can stretch it out to 72-month financing. I've even seen up to 80+ months on financing a car. That's going to make your payments really low, but at the same time, you're going to be paying on this vehicle forever. Okay, that's a long time, 72 months. So think about that for a second. I mean, if you're paying $565 for 72 months, my Lord, that's a lot of money for a car, right? And then what else does that do to you? That puts you upside down in your car loan. Okay, so think about that. Always work the price versus the payment. If they get the price where you want it at, then payments can fall in line where you need them to be. All right, here's step number 5. It's all about your trade-in, right? Most people in most cases got a trade-in. They got a vehicle that they're getting ready to replace, and you want to trade it in at the car store because a lot of times you just don't want to take the time to sell it yourself. You may not want to have to deal with taking people on test drives and people coming over to your house or meeting them at Kmart. We've all heard those nightmare stories of people posting cars on Craigslist and getting killed, or something crazy happened, getting robbed, right? So sometimes it's easier to just trade it in at the car dealership. But let me tell you something. Hold out now. Hold out on telling them you're going to trade a car in. The car salesman is going to always ask you. They're conditioned to ask multiple questions to you. Okay, and one of the main questions they're going to ask you, and right in the beginning of the deal, is, do you have a car you're going to trade in today, sir? You know, there's nothing wrong. You don't have to lie to them, but you can say, nah, I don't think we're going to trade in my car. I think I'm going to sell it myself. So at that point, let them go ahead and work the deal without the trade-in involved. Once you get the numbers where you want them at without the trade-in, then you can say, you know what, I was just on the phone with my wife or my husband, and he said, go ahead and let y'all take a look at the trade. Then you can give them the keys and let them do the appraisal on the vehicle, and then they'll come up with a number on your car. Okay, so again, hold that trade until the last moment after you got those numbers on the vehicle what you want. Because if they give you $3-4 grand for your car because you got an older vehicle, or even 10 grand or whatever, that's going to take a big chunk off the payments. So pay attention to that. Tip number 6, it goes with the trade-in. Clean your car before you go to the car dealership. It's really pretty self-explanatory, but let me tell you, I was a car salesman for 10+ years. I work in the car dealerships every day of the week. I'm at a dealership right now. Now let me explain something to you. It's so important for you to have your car clean when you go to the car store. Take the time to wash it, get it all cleaned up. You don't have to sit there and do a major wax job on it or pay somebody $200-300 to do a full detail, but make sure you take the car, wash it, take it to Cactus Car Wash, have them clean the wheels, get it looking good. You know, I can't tell you, so many times we've been at car dealerships working a deal on somebody's trade-in, their car is just filthy dirty. That makes an impression. The car dealership's going to give you less money for your trade-in. So if you got a nice, clean car, they're going to give you a little extra more. And they respect that, okay? Because you got to think about it on their side. You know, if your car is nasty, filthy, dirty, they're going to have to pay somebody to clean that car and do a full detail. And it's going to cost them a couple $100. So if it comes in clean, that will save you some money in the long run. Step number 7, the add-ons on the vehicle. You may be thinking to yourself, what are add-ons, right? Well, let me tell you, a lot of car dealerships I work with, they have the sticker right there that's the MSRP price of the vehicle. And then on the right-hand side of the window sticker, they have, it's called an addendum right there. And it's gonna have a bunch of add-ons on there. Paint protectants, mud flaps, wheel locks. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. Sometimes dealerships will have $3,000 to $4,000 or $1,500 to $2,500 in add-ons onto the vehicle that are already on it. You shouldn't have to pay for those things that you possibly didn't want on your car. So, you tell the dealership, look, I'm shopping between this dealership over here that doesn't have all the add-ons and you. I really want to do business with y'all, but I don't want to have to pay for all these extra things on the vehicle. Most cases, the dealership is going to leave that stuff on the vehicle. They don't want to have to take it back off. They don't want to have to go back in the shop and pay the technician to pull all this stuff off the vehicle. So don't pay for them. You don't need them. I mean, unless you're really sitting there and you're like, some of these things I really did want, then I can understand about buying those. But the add-ons make dealerships a lot of money. They really do, okay? So pay attention to that stuff. Also, back end in the finance department, the dealership's going to try to sell you all kinds of different warranties for the vehicle. Now, I'm not saying it's not worth buying a good wraparound warranty or buying a gap warranty and things like that. Those are really good things to get. Now, but, gap warranty, they may try to sell it to you for $700, $800, and in reality, they only own it for, $200 to $300. So you can negotiate on warranty. Don't think you can't, okay? There's a big markup in those warranties. Some of these warranties are $3,000, $4,000 for your vehicle, right? You can negotiate on that. The finance manager wants to sell you a warranty one way or another. That's how he makes his money. That's why they call it the back end gross. The car salesman actually makes money off of it too. A lot of times they make 5% of the back end gross after the end of the month. There's nothing wrong with your car salesman getting paid and making a little extra money, but you don't need to get reamed in the butthole over all these warranties, okay? It adds up. That's the kind of stuff that puts you upside down in your car loan a few years later. It's a horrible feeling 3 to 4 years later when you go and want to trade in your vehicle and you say, well, sir, you're 10 grand upside down. You're 3 or 4 grand upside down. Sometimes the only way to get out of that upside down loan is putting that cash down or rolling it over into the next car loan. You don't want to be upside down. So that's how it happens. All the extra add-ons, all the extra finance warranties and things like that. All right, everybody, one of the last tips, okay? This is an important one. I want you to pay attention closely to this. The salesman, okay? You want to get the right salesman to work with. Unfortunately, right now in the car business, when you pull up at a car dealership, you don't get to pick the salesman, do you? You don't. Unless you were referred to somebody or you had a family member that bought from a good salesperson or something like that. But when you just come in randomly to a car store you've never been before, you don't get to pick the salesperson. So you're just lucky enough every once in a while to get a good one. Sometimes you get a bad salesman. Now, let me tell you what to do so you don't get a bad salesman. Because again, if you don't get a good salesperson, the experience is not going to be there. You're spending a lot of money buying that new vehicle. You want to have the best experience possible at the dealership. You don't want to be there for 8 hours. You don't want to have to come back again and sign more paperwork. You want to just get it done with and have a good time while doing it and leave with a smile, as I like to say, right? What you need to do while you're doing research about the car, you also need to do research on the dealership. Go to their social media sites. Go to Facebook, go to Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Look up the dealership on all those different platforms and see which salesperson is on the social media stuff, okay? For 10 years, I was a car salesman. I was on all the social media stuff at the dealerships. I was about the only one that did everything, but I had the knowledge about the cars and how to sell cars and do what I got to do to make a living doing it, and also have a good customer relationship, okay? So I want you to pay attention to that. See which sales guy is on top of his game. Who's the top salesman in the dealership? Now, sometimes the top salesman is not always the best salesman to work with. Pay attention to that. A lot of times those sales guys that are selling 20 to 30 to 40 cars a month, they're whim bam and whim boom bam boom bam. They're going through customers left and right, selling. But at the same time, sometimes those top salespeople aren't the best because they're not always keeping up with their customers because they're so busy constantly selling cars. Good for them, but at the same time, go online and look at the reviews. You know, people that buy and that are happy with that dealership and with that salesperson and they had a good experience, they're going to go on Facebook, they're going to go on Google, and they're going to make a nice review and mention that salesperson in there. So pay attention to that so you get a good experience at the car store. You don't want to get a bad taste in your mouth. Anyways, those are a few tips. If there's anything else I can share, again, I've been in the car business over 10 plus years. Now I just do videos full time. I got a massive YouTube channel here and we film cars for sale, new cars, used cars. I do reviews, everything. Feel free to check out the channel and check out some of the stuff on there. Have a great day, everybody. And again, hit that like button. Support me. I'm trying to do some big stuff out here. But anyways, send me a comment. Let me know if you got any more questions about the car business. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Make sure you get a great deal. We'll see you soon.